don't really write scripts, so I don't know how to start this off. I guess I'll just blatantly say, for the record, those were in fact anti Semitic remarks. For fact. I mean, we don't even have to play the clip of Kanye West saying, I can say anti Semitic remarks and Adidas can't fire me. We can also go into details of how, when Kanye West was on a podcast called Drink Champs, he literally told them, I want the Jewish kids to go to their Jewish parents. And I want them to say, Mommy, why does he hate me so much? And I want their parents to explain. So we're no longer talking about this idea of the Jewish elite owning everything in the world. We're talking about regular Jewish children, regular middle class Jewish parents. He wanted everyone in the Jewish community to take ownership of what he feels that the Jewish elite has done to him. That is not an example of Kanye West only talking about the Jewish elite. This is Kanye West talking to Jewish people. Those are in fact anti-Semitic remarks. And for anyone who disagree, then change the word Jewish to whatever you are. Imagine a white man saying, I want little black children to go to their black moms and say, Mommy, why doesn't this white man like us? Ooh, kind of stings when you put it that way, huh? These were anti-Semitic remarks. This was hate speech. And I just saw an entire country that loves to hear one thing from someone that they agree with. One thing. And if that person says one thing they agree with, they're willing to throw everything away. Allow me to use two examples. Black people. A lot of black people do feel like they're ostracized. And they are controlled by some private Jewish force. They've been saying that behind closed doors when us black people talk to each other for years and years and years. So when Kanye says that, it's something they identifies with. So when they identify that, then they forget all of the other bad stuff that Kanye West said, and they focus only on that to try to march behind a man that has gone out of his way to marginalize everything that we fight for as black Americans. White, racist skinheads. Now, you're not going to tell me that a skinhead doesn't like Kanye West, but what did they do? They took Kanye West's message about the Jewish elite and said that Kanye West was right, hung banners all over California to spread this hateful message to another group of people. You hear one thing and you throw out everything else. That's all I saw. It's crazy to me. Because if someone gives you partial information, they are not helping you. I see people all the time saying Kanye is trying to enlighten you and help you. How? What did he give you that helps your life? What did he say that can make your life better in any way? Via fast or overtime? But I want to prove him wrong. I want to prove him wrong that the people that he may have encountered were not Jewish. You got to find a common denominator before you can attack a problem or an issue. The common denominator wasn't that the elite is Jewish. I can prove it. The networks that Kanye West disliked and says ran by Jewish people are actually owned by Muslims. So we have some Jewish elite, we have some Muslim elites. There's a guy that won the presidency by the name of Donald Trump. Besides wanting to grab you by the vagina, women, he ran in a presidential debate. And in this debate, when it's down to only two candidates left, he was called out on not paying his taxes. He didn't lie about it. He said, hey, there was a loophole. You guys let me through. That guy was a Christian. Christian, Muslim, Jewish. Oh, wait. A lot of people lie to you all and say that they are of a religion. They're really just atheists. They don't believe in God, period. Oh, wow. Christian, Muslim, Jewish, secular. These are all different things. What is the common denominator? The common denominator is money and power. Unfortunately, we as human beings, we have a tendency, the more power we get, to be more cruel. And in a way, power kind of teaches you to be cruel. In order to be the president of the United States, you have to be willing and accept that you're going to take people's lives merely by running for that job. You're asking for a job where your decision is going to kill someone. Fact. Hey, President Obama, we found 20,000 of our enemies over here in these caves. Want to send a drone over and bomb them? Oh, one thing though, there's 20 civilians close by who will for sure be bombed too. And of those 20 civilians, 15 of them are women and 5 of them are children. You said 20,000 soldiers? Send the drones. Then he has to wake up the next day and smile and tell the American people, we got the enemy. He has to smile, knowing that 20 innocent people, women and children, lost their life. Power is the common denominator, and Kanye West only told you Jewish. You take that information, you have this hatred for Jewish people, and you're still getting effed over. You're still getting effed over. Because he didn't tell you the real cause, the real root of why these people do these things. I'll take it a step further. I don't know if he's a billionaire now. They changed these numbers so much. But when Kanye West was allegedly a billionaire, when he owned his own company, he had an artist by the name of Big Sean. Big Sean is signed to Kanye West's label. Kanye West's label is signed to Def Jam, ran by a Jewish guy. So the artist, Big Sean, ran to check his books. He hired external lawyers, auditors, everything to look at all the paperwork and find out where his $6 million are. Because $6 million is missing. The parent company, Def Jam, with the Jewish guy, every single paperwork checked out perfectly. And the check was sent down to Kanye West and Kanye West's label. Kanye West and his label never gave Big Sean the money. So the Jewish guy didn't do something wrong to F over a black person. Kanye West, the billionaire who gained his power, as I say, F'd over another black man. And then went on a tirade to put him down and saying the worst thing he did was sign him. This had nothing to do with the $6 million. He put down his artist because his artist was not campaigning for Kanye West to win the presidency. While Kanye West stole $6 million when he was in what? Power. Man, I like to look at different communities and stuff, and I wanted to see what the young people were saying about this. And every time I saw a young person go live on YouTube and talk about this, you know what that audience was talking about? They weren't talking about Jewish people or black people or none of the serious stuff he did. They were extremely hurt because they're no longer going to be able to get the new colorway of Yeezys. This was some secret plan of Kanye West to be totally free of everything, and now he can come and run the game. I remember Kanye West was free and he was assigned to any clothing label where he can make his own clothing, and he went out then when he had more money to start his own clothing line, and he couldn't do it because he complained and cried that he couldn't get the right fabrics. He couldn't do it then. How's he going to do it now, being ostracized and put down by the entire world for his hateful remarks? You think it's easy to just design a shoe and put it in the factory and make millions of them to sell to the world? If it was, he would have did it when he left Nike. He didn't leave Nike to start his own Yeezys. He left Nikes to go to another company. It's not easy under normal circumstances, but now we aren't talking about normal circumstances. We're talking about a man who has pretty much been exiled to make sure that they get him for those remarks. And they didn't get him to silence him. They got him for those remarks. It sounds clever to say they got him to silence him. You didn't need to silence Kanye West because he was about to create a new change in the world. He couldn't even get custody of his children. He's not going to make a new change in the world. They silenced him because he said hateful remarks. And they wanted to show a unified front that they're not going to accept that. He wasn't going to change anything by own merit of what he's done to his reputation. This was an unhinged guy with some mental bipolar issues who had practiced using the Black American community. He used us as practice. What if I say this? No. I mean, go in order. What if I come out here and wear a Confederate flag? I did not get canceled. Wow. What if I say slavery was a choice? I did not get canceled. What if I put down Harriet Tubman? I did not get canceled. White Lives Matter shirt. I did not get canceled. He used us for practice, and he forgot one thing. You can put down black people all you want, and you will never, ever get canceled. This is one of the sad things about this right here. If Kanye West showed you anything at all, through his own experimentation, he showed you that if you put out anything about black people, you cannot get canceled. And partially that's our fault. We say we're jealous of the LGBTQ community because they care about when they step up. Why do they care about when they step up? They don't care because they're not heterosexual. They care because they can come as a unified unit, making their vote matters. Every community. He said something about the Jewish people. They can come together as a unified front. It was people in the Adidas office. I won't work here anymore if you have Kanye West. A unified front. We don't come together as a unified front. We come together to put each other down in any way that we can. You're too busy when you fight with each other about semantics and all these other little crazy stuff that you want to seem intelligent by. And you're not looking at the bigger picture. Because by numbers, our vote can count. By numbers, though. It's what's inside of those numbers. Why our votes and why our voice don't count. Our numbers are bigger than the LGBTQ community. Our numbers are right behind Hispanics in America. Our percentage. But the division is far greater. If anything, that's what Kanye West should have taught you. And even if you see the division by mere merit of you being a good person, even if you're not a black American, you should have cared about the statements that Kanye West said. It should not have taken anti-Semitic statements for you to feel this outrage. He's been doing this for a while. It just wasn't about Jewish people. I see a hurt man that is very upset because every single rambling run-on sentence always floated back to him and his issues with his wife. And while we would normally care about that, while we would normally want to help a man be with his kids, it's by the actions that he does. He'll tell you guys, and you'll follow him and say, they try to make me look crazy because I moved next door to my wife so I can see my children. That statement alone, that sounds really messed up. But when you see him dressed in bushes and camouflage and running across the street doing crazy stuff, mixed on with the other, use your brain. Now, the last thing I want to end this on is freedom of speech, because I'm so disgusted at you guys using freedom of speech the wrong way. Kanye West hasn't lost one tiny shred, not one tiny shred of freedom of speech. Oh my God, John, how can you say that? He can't go on Twitter. He can't go on Instagram. He can't talk anywhere. No person wants to have him on their show. None of that has anything to do with freedom of speech. And I gotta be honest, I'm shocked that that this could come from people who lean towards the right. Because I thought people who lean towards the right was for owning your own business, private businesses. We all preach that we want each other to be owners, want our children to own their own stuff. But what if your child owned their own cookie shop? When you say these things to defend Kanye West, you're saying that your child can own their own cookie shop. And someone, via freedom of speech, can come in that cookie shop, sit right in the middle of the floor, and say anti-Semitic remarks, can say remarks that put down the black American community. You can't kick them out of your store because it's freedom of speech. They can say whatever they want. First of all, freedom of speech has never been saying anything you want. If so, I dare you to threaten the president. I dare you. You got freedom of speech. Private company has the right to make their rules. And every time we click that button when we made an account for YouTube, for Instagram, for Facebook, we all agreed that we're going to abide by their rules. And in those rules are things such as bullying, things such as hate speech. Once this private company deemed you broke one of their rules, from the great country we live in, they have a right to remove you from their platform. That's the freedom we have in this country. Now, freedom of speech would mean he can't say this anywhere. Yes, he can. Kanye West can make a website right now. Make KanyeWest.com or whatever he wants to make. He can go on there and play and talk to you guys all day and say all the same remarks he's been trying to go to all these other platforms to say. He can do that. And nothing will happen to him. Nothing. And when I mean nothing will happen to him, I only mean that it will stay up. It will stay up because he owns that. And he owns that, and he's using his platform for his own freedom of speech. Nothing will happen to him in that accord. Now, if you say people will shun him, he can't work here, he can't do that, because other people have their right. If you say people will talk bad about him because he has his freedom of speech, people have the freedom of the speech to respond when they hear something they don't like in this great country we have. That's how freedom of speech works. If someone doesn't want to employ you from something that they see online, they have the right to do that. If you sign a contract with a company and you break said rules in the contract, they have a right to terminate you. That's what makes this country great. You don't have to be held hostage to someone doing in your company what you deem inappropriate, and they get to continue to do it. That is a right we have in this country. You guys are using it wrong. He has freedom of speech. You want to bully companies into private companies into letting someone say whatever they want to, and that has never, ever occurred in the country of the United States of America, ever. So when you're using this word, make sure you're using it the right way. Kanye West, the main theme I kept seeing in all of the interviews he done is like, I will not bend and I will say everything I want to say. Even when you see people that appear that they say everything they want to say, trust me, they're holding in stuff. No one in our crazy thoughts and stuff we have in our mind comes out here and say 110% everything they want to say, because of the freedom of speech that everyone else has, that they're going to come out and say what they want to say too. And if you say something unpopular, it's going to turn public opinion away from you. And you end up in situations like Mr. Kanye West has got himself into. I don't really believe Forbes numbers. They just put magazine, they put out stuff. But if Forbes numbers are true and he has $400 million left, and he could have had like 1.6 billion or whatever, and he's down to 400 million, and then he gets sued by George Floyd's family if they win for 250 million, and then if Adidas comes to him because of some breach of contract, I don't know. Look what happened. All because a man put out a very divisive and wrong message across the board on many different topics, not just being anti-Semitic. Was it worth it? Look how easy in his own personal life he's made this to go to court for any kind of custody with his children. What 12 jurors? What judge? This is the easiest piece of information in the world for his ex-wife's lawyers to have. Show someone's unstable. And the little tiny little crumbs or whatever that you're hitting in there that you think that Kanye West was right on. You have to care about who you look up to. You gotta look at the whole person. You have to care. There's a lot of other people out here who's saying that with more valid points. Don't be so eager to follow somebody because you think that one little piece of thing that they say is hitting inside of all this harm, all this divisiveness, these run-on rambling sentences and erratic behavior. You are better than that. Show you're better than that. That's all I got to say.